As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
I think this is 2 in a row for me, taking Georgia as my winner of the weekend. But they handled Tennessee with no problems. What was the final? 38-10, something like that.
38-10 in Knoxville.
In Knoxville. They are absolutely rolling. They are clearly the best team in college football. Here's what's interesting. That was their 28th win in a row. 28 straight. Now, I've always said that the 47-game win streak by Oklahoma is absolutely untouchable in this day and age. And I still think it is. But they're at 28 in a row. If they run the table and win a national championship this year, that'll be 32 straight. And then you start looking at next year. I don't know that they're going to get to 47, but they may get really close. They would have to go undefeated again next year to tie the number to get to 47. But 28 games in a row in this day and age in college football, in a playoff format, that is incredible. If they finish this year undefeated, and that'll be 32 straight wins. That is unheard of, in my opinion.
I still think the best scenario possible is OU's really good next year, and they play Georgia in the SEC championship game
to end it.
You got a chance to end the streak, or else it's probably going down. And here's the thing with that football team. And I've been building up to this point with the way I've been talking about this guy over the last couple of weeks. I think Carson Beck's the best quarterback in college football. The way that he is playing, the way that he's driving the ball down the field, I think he's better. I think he's the best pure passer in all of college football. I think he's better than Caleb Williams. I think he's better than Drake May. I think he's better than Michael Penix. No one's spinning it better than Carson Beck right now. No one. And if he comes back, because he can leave, and I think he's going to have to end up going, because I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. But if he comes back, if Georgia's collective can put together the proper funds, that's going to put the 47-game winning streak in serious jeopardy if he's back next season.
It's crazy, right? That they've put themselves in that position. And, I said plain and simple that Georgia's going to have to make a believer out of me that they can replace a quarterback that won 2 national championships for them. They've done it. They've not only replaced him, but they've improved substantially, perhaps. So, yeah, they are absolutely rolling.
There is no doubt. There's no doubt. Does it feel like everyone's just playing for second at this point? That's how it's starting to feel, right?
Yeah. Alabama's going to have to beat them in the SEC championship game. To have a chance to get in, I guess, and they're playing really good right now, but even that feels like it's just not something that they're going to be capable of, right?
It just feels like Georgia is peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
They've gotten healthier on offense.
Yeah.
All their weapons are back. I don't know, man. It's college football. You never know.
Never know.
But that team they look good. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go with the University of Southern California.
How many times have you done?
Well, I call it how I see it. And I think expectations out there got ahead of what realistically the hole that they were in and what all needed to happen with that program. And I think that that's really what's going on. Is USC is a victim of they're a victim of the expectations that people have placed on them. And I don't know, maybe they placed them on themselves, but like what's gone on out there is wild. The turnaround that we've had in the public perception of that program and what's going to happen with it, where it's going to be, has been incredible to watch. Hasn't it? Is that like the craziest 180 you've ever seen?
Well, I think the best way to gauge how things are going for a program is usually just seeing how the fans feel. And my timeline on Twitter was flooded with all the OU fans were right. They warned us. We didn't listen to them. We should have. They warned us. It's not going well. And this has been, you think about what their season was a year ago and all the excitement and all the USC fans dunking on OU fans for the struggles that we had a year ago. And now I don't think anyone feels better about the future of USC than they do about the future of Oklahoma. No. But this is the main problem for Lincoln Riley right now. At USC, when they have played physical football teams, they lose. UCLA played Ethan Garbers in this game. He was 18 of 31 for 155 yards. Now, they're 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but they just beat him up at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. USC could not run the football at all. There's your problem. Caleb Williams, he can't do it all himself, man. Now, he still should do media after the game. That's silly.
Yeah, but I didn't see that. I didn't see that he didn't do media.
Yeah, and USC made it clear that it was his choice not to do it. They announced that he had elected not to do post-game media. Subtly throwing your star quarterback on the bus is fine. But did you see Dan Mullen's tweet?
I did. That's wild. I think USC right now is a victim of the expectations that they created. Whenever you saw the schedule that USC had this year and really looked at what they were as a football team, you knew it was going to be an ugly year. You knew it was going to be really difficult for them. So I like, to me, that's the biggest thing. Now, I don't think Lincoln Riley grasped how difficult that job was going to be. I think he expected that he's going to take over and they're going to be the best recruiting team out on the West Coast without any problems. And, life was going to be easy, but I think it's become way more difficult of a challenge than he expected.
No doubt. Also, just looking at the UCLA game in particular, first of all, maybe the best uniform game in all of college football.
Pretty good.
And the OU BYU game was an awesome uniform matchup as well. But they're not good enough to lose the turnover battle 3-0 and win football games. Just not going to happen. Stop fumbling the football. But yeah, they're 7-5. They went 7-5 with the best player in all of college football at the most important position in the sport. Not good.
Nope. Not good. And well, here's the thing is it's not good, but it's also like they haven't been able to get the help like on the line of scrimmage and some different things that I think that they thought they were going to be able to get. And it's become backyard football with Caleb Williams just scrambling around crazy, trying to make things happen, which I think a lot of that he creates problems for himself. Like he makes a lot of great things happen when he does that, but it also is no way to play to win football games consistently. So, I mean, there's just, they got a lot of problems. And I honestly, I don't know what the future holds. Because the pressure seems pretty intense.
Bill Plaschke, that man's firing off headlines already.
Jeez.
They are not pleased out there on the West Coast with what Lincoln Riley did this season. We'll see, man.
Yeah.
I don't think the move to the Big Ten helps anything.
No. And the way Oregon and Washington are playing, and he's created USC right now with Lincoln Riley at the helm is a more difficult rebuild than it was before he took the job, because the fight that he has against the public perception of how he runs a football team is almost unwinnable for him. I don't know how he recovers from it.
Could USC have a Jimbo Fisher type contract on their hands?
Yeah. I mean,
now it's a private school. We don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's all guaranteed and it's a massive number.
Some people have estimated his buyout to be like $90 million or something like that. But I have no idea. We'll let them deal with that problem, I guess.
Not our problem.
Not our problem.
All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
elevate your tailgate with Chapel Supply and Equipment in Oklahoma City. Chapel Supply and Equipment has generators and inverters on hand that'll give you all the power you need so you can take your tailgate to the next level. They've also got top-of-the-line heaters to keep you warm during those cold tailgates later in the season. They're Oklahoma-owned and operated. Elevate your tailgate by calling 405-495-1722 or visit chapelsupply.com. That's CHAPPELL supply.com.
And First Fidelity Bank knows how to keep fans like you happy. With more than 50 awards in the last 5 years, including Forum's Best in-State Bank, the Oklahoma's Community Choice Awards, and the Journal Records Reader Rankings, it's clear they are Oklahoma's #1 pick for quality banking. And you can find that level of outstanding service in everything FFB offers. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the weekend, thought about going with New Mexico State, the Fighting Jerry Kills. Did you see that?
Yeah.
31-10 beatdown of Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
That's crazy, man.
Jordan-Hare Stadium. They got worked.
Wow.
Good for you, New Mexico State. But my winner of the weekend, the Arizona Wildcats. They smacked Utah 42-18. They are now an 8-3 football team. And they jumped all over Utah early in this one. Trick play touchdown, blocked a punt for a touchdown, and just kept pouring it on. It was 28-0 in the blink of an eye, dude. And Utah, they're not built to come from behind like that. Bryson Barnes threw it 53 times in that game. That's not Utah's typical recipe for success in a football game. But I was really impressed with the level of physicality from Arizona, especially those jerseys were horrendous, but they were playing well. The gray pants, I don't know who's making the choices there, but that is an ugly look for the Wildcats. But hey, if you're going to play like that, if Noah Fafita is going to continue to be awesome at the quarterback spot for him, if Jonah Coleman's going to continue to rip off some big runs, who cares what the jerseys look like? I know this, man. Jedd Fisch can coach.
Yes, he can.
He can coach. They were 1-11 in year one. They were 5-7 last year, and now they're 8-3, and they are a good football team. So I just really, really impressed with what he's been able to accomplish there at Arizona.
Yeah. And they are just kicking themselves over their 3 losses.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, they're just kicking themselves. They're close to being, easily 9, perhaps 10 win football team right now, with some games that they let slip away. You're pissed if you're Arizona. It's like, yes, what a season. This is amazing. But it's one of those where, is it so good that you're going to lose your coach?
Yeah. And I think the answer to that is absolutely yes. He's done such a nice job this year. Now, he doesn't have a huge body of work, so maybe that's what prevents him from getting an A&M or a Michigan State or even like a Mississippi State. Maybe he needs to prove it a little more. But you mentioned the losses. They lost to Mississippi State in overtime on the road. So Zach Selman had a front row seat for that one.
Yep.
They lost to Washington. They lost to Washington by 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost to USC in triple overtime when they should have gone for 2 in the first overtime, and they probably would have won the game.
I think they would handily beat Mississippi State and USC if they replayed those games. Handily.
I agree.
But you obviously can't do that. They've got some issues on their hands right now. And keeping a coach could be difficult. Coming up with some
$240 million of what just misspent money for the athletics department? Like what happened?
I don't know. Like all of a sudden they run their athletic department like the Department of Defense, where 240 million just up and vanishes in the wind. I have no idea. But it's interesting. They smacked Utah. I think both Arizona, if they can hang on to Fisch, and I personally think Utah may end up being the crown of the Big 12. Especially after seeing Salt Lake City for myself, where that campus is. And it's a huge airport hub. You can get there direct flight from almost, most places in the country, especially like if you're all of a sudden going to be playing in Texas a bunch and recruiting in the state of Texas more than they have. There's direct flight out of Dallas, not like tons of them, to Salt Lake City all throughout the day. I bet there's 10 flights out of Dallas a day that go to Salt Lake City.
There's also a lot of Polynesians.
Yep.
In the state of Texas, that all of a sudden Utah, you may be playing a lot of games in your home state. If you go to Utah, they're going to tap into that poly demographic in the state as well. There's just no doubt about it. They're
already really good. And a lot of people compare them to Kansas State, rightfully so, like what Iowa State has done, rightfully so. But think about how difficult it is to get to Manhattan, Kansas, and how difficult it is to get to Ames, Iowa, and how easy it is to get to Salt Lake City and all that Salt Lake City has to offer. I mean, I was blown away by what I think that place is capable of. And it's a big enrollment, 30,000, bigger in Oklahoma.
We really liked Salt Lake City.
Yes, we did.
We had a good time. A lot of breweries. Beer was good. For my loser of the weekend, I hate it for them. The Florida State Seminoles moved to 11-0, but it came at a great cost. 158-13 over North Alabama. And North Alabama got off to a great start, and everyone was looking at the box score going, wait, hold on here. Let's flip to the CW to see what's going on. and then Jordan Travis with just a brutal leg injury in the first quarter. If you saw the play, it doesn't take a doctor to recognize that your leg is not supposed to face that direction. I'm just hoping that he doesn't have any long-term damage. We've seen guys have similar injuries that just were never the same, Ted, but you're playing a bye game against an FCS opponent. It's like the worst case scenario. Your star quarterback goes out with a brutal leg injury. Just absolutely brutal for Mike Norvell and for the guys on that football team. That was tough to watch, man.
Yeah, it is. And I can only imagine. I haven't seen the play. I've done a good job of avoiding it. I already know what I'm going to see anyways with it. But I can imagine like like what it felt like in that stadium for the rest of that game, right? Whenever you've got an undefeated season going, you've got all of these hopes and aspirations, and your star player goes down, and you're obviously feeling for him and his future and for the team and what they've gone through and their future. And it's just it makes you sick to your stomach for that team, those coaches, the fan base. But see what happens. And I wonder what effect that has with the college football playoff.
I think it'll have a large one, a significant effect. They're 11-0, but they're not the same team with Tate Rodemaker at quarterback. They're just not. I think that Washington should definitely jump them with Travis's injury. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if Oregon and Texas and Alabama all jump them as well. I know that that's harsh, but they couldn't have lost a more important player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the most important player on their football team. And they still have Florida, and then they've got Louisville in the ACC championship game.
Not an easy road.
I don't know if they make it through those two unscathed.
The committee might leave them like kind of where they've been and just kind of let things take care of themselves, so to speak, perhaps,
just to avoid the backlash from a bunch of from the Florida State mob.
Yeah. It's like, it's like we fixed the glitch in accounting. We'll just let it kind of take its course from Office Space. Maybe they do that, but I don't know.
I don't think it's an overreaction. It just kind of feels like Florida State's not a contender anymore with this injury. I wasn't sure they could match up with your Michigans, your Bamas, your Georgias, Ohio State, like those types of teams. I just have a ton of doubt now with Jordan Travis being out.
It's one thing I'm just using this player as an example, as a position, not really the Georgia, like their team example, but it's one thing to lose. Like if your best player is your tight end, or maybe a defensive end or a corner or something like that.
Like even an offensive tackle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you're not going to be able to overcome that unless you're Kansas, I guess, I don't know, and play the way that three guys at quarterback. I don't know that. I hate that for Florida State though, because I think ultimately everyone wants the best clearly for Jordan Travis, but we also want to see college football, especially this time, championship November, conference championships around the corner. We want to see everyone at their best to see like who can go and earn the championship rightfully. So I hate it for everyone that it's come to this. Brutal.